Have you been looking for that one switch to flip that will propel you forward into the successful, lasting weight loss you dream about? Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode number 356, What Scarlett O'Hara Can Teach You About Successful Weight Loss That Lasts. Hello, welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. This is JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, weight loss mindset expert, founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that is the most important diet you could ever do because it's not a food diet. Instead, it addresses the psychology that you need for weight loss. It gives you a weight loss mindset and it makes weight loss struggle-free. I've been doing this work professionally since 2009. I love working with my awesome coaching clients who are willing to do something radically new and get honest with themselves. Without that self-honesty, without being willing to get real with yourself, you really don't have the big breakthroughs that you're looking for. And by the way, today is not a Get Real episode, but I will say that getting real with yourself is not about beating yourself up or being mean to yourself or having even more shame for your out of control eating than you already have. Getting real with yourself is about taking off the blinders and looking at exactly what you're doing that is giving you the specific results that you're getting, and then making a new decision if you don't like the results that you are getting. If you don't already have it, I have a free download available at www.easyfunweightloss.com. In it, you'll get 3 simple steps to start making weight loss easier from the inside out. You can get that at www.easyfunweightloss.com. All right, today's topic is something really neat because if you're a movie lover like I am, then maybe you like to connect the dots with the storylines and the metaphors and what you learn from a good story and how you can apply that to your own personal life and the triumphs, the tribulations, the challenges that you might go through, and what you really need to do to take action to succeed with this one goal that you're here on the JoLynn Braley Show about, and that one goal is your weight loss goal. So, have you ever seen the movie Gone with the Wind? It's a long movie, and they filmed it so that there's an intermission in between the two parts. There's the first part, and then there's an intermission, and then there's a second part. If they ever bring it back into the movie theaters, then during that intermission, that's the time when you can go to the restroom. There are other movies out there that are really long like that also. The Lord of the Rings, that whole trilogy, very, very long movies. I love the Lord of the Rings. Love it. But that's not what we're here talking about today. We're talking about a completely different story about the Civil War, about the destruction of the Old South, about the change up that happened during the Reconstruction period. And clearly Gone with the Wind, it's a story, and it was based on a novel that Margaret Mitchell wrote, which Clark Gable, Vivian Leigh brought to life on the big screen. But what is it specifically that Scarlett O'Hara can teach you about permanent weight loss? What can she teach you about getting to your goal weight and staying there and maintaining that for the rest of your life? Because clearly there was nothing in Gone with the Wind that had anything to do with weight loss. However, there is a great teaching point, which I'm going to share with you right now, which will show you how Scarlett O'Hara can teach you about your personal goal that you want to achieve of getting to your goal weight and staying there. Hopefully that is your goal. Hopefully you're not looking to just lose weight fast and then yo-yo diet back again. Hopefully that's not what you want, because that is so painful. It's almost worse to get to your goal weight and yo-yo back again over and over and over again. It's almost worse to do that than it is just to stay overweight, because every time that you yo-yo back, don't you feel even worse and you end up feeling even more like a failure? You know what I mean, Jean? I've been there before. I understand. And I would just, again, I hope that that's not what you're looking for. The best way to go is to get your mind in the right place so that you can live a healthy lifestyle, you get the weight off, and you keep it off for the rest of your life. But how do you start that? How do you flip the switch? What can Scarlett O'Hara teach you about this? Here's what she can teach you. At the end of the first part, before the film goes to intermission, Scarlett had made her way back home, and she had seen the devastation of her home where she had grown up there at Tara. Her mother had passed away. Her father was not all there any longer, and then he ended up dying, and she was trying to keep that place together with her sisters, and they really didn't have anything to eat. And this doesn't have anything to do with weight loss, by the way, okay? They literally were starving, and they were trying to grow food in the garden, and she got to such a point of frustration and emotional overwhelm that they filmed that last scene where she was outside and she had picked up some earth from the garden and nothing was growing. And the one thing that her father had told her was that she'd always have Tara. But there she was, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And here's what she did. She made a decision at that point, at that very point. She made a decision, and her decision was, I will never be hungry again. All right? That decision propelled her, whether you agree with her future success or not, it propelled her into the success that she ended up achieving in the rest of the story so that she wouldn't be hungry again. And it all started with that decision at that very moment. So what does this have to do with you getting to your goal weight and staying there? You have to make the firm decision that you're going to do it. You got to flip that switch. And you have to make the decision even before you know how. At that moment that Scarlett O'Hara made that decision, she didn't know how she was going to get beyond that point. She didn't have a plan, not at that point. But she made the decision. She decided that she would get beyond that horrible place that she was living in where she was really starving. Things were horrible. She wasn't used to living like that. She'd pretty much been pampered her whole life, right? Up until the war broke out. She made that decision even though she didn't know how or when or who or what, but she decided. If you don't make the decision for yourself that you're going to get to your goal weight and stay there, have peace with yourself, have peace with food, have a healthy relationship with your body, with food, with how you eat, the whole shebang, if you don't make the firm decision, it won't happen. And where 99% of people go wrong is they wait until they have the solution or the supposed solution, something. They wait until a person comes along. They wait until they have some kind of a guidepost or something put together. They wait until they find the how. That's what they're waiting for. They don't want to make the decision until they find the how. But the way that this universe works is the how cannot come to you until you make the decision. It's the same kind of thing as all the millions of people out there who say, I'll believe it when I see it. You won't see it if you don't believe it. So it might seem like a big, hairy goal to set for yourself, to heal your relationship with food, to get to your healthiest weight, to manage that and stay there for the rest of your life without emotional eating, without binge eating. That goal might sound impossible, but if you don't make the decision now that you're going to achieve it, the how cannot come to you because your brain will filter out any possible solutions that would give you that outcome because you haven't made the decision and you don't believe that you're ever going to have it because you haven't made the decision. Do you see how that works? Does that make sense? So all of this hinges on you making the decision for yourself, even though you don't know how, even though you don't believe in yourself, even though you keep doubting yourself, and even though you can't stop eating. You got to start with the decision. And hey, if you want to go watch Gone with the Wind, you could do that too. It's an excellent movie. It's a classic. They just don't make movies like that anymore. But you still have to make the decision. You still have to decide for yourself. And if you have conflicts that stand in the way of you making the decision, for example, if you have a limiting belief that, oh, it's selfish for me to take time for myself each day to heal my relationship with food and get into a healthy mindset and get the weight off, and so you won't make that decision to reach your goal because of the belief you have that's holding you back. Do you see how that works? Does it make sense? Everything is about your mind. That's where everything starts and ends. Weight loss is either won in your mind or lost in your mind. The game of weight loss. You either win it or lose it in your mind before you ever start. So if your mindset is in a place where you haven't decided to win, you haven't decided to go for it for yourself, you haven't decided that you're worth it, you haven't decided that you deserve to be free of this frustration and this impediment, if you haven't made the decision, not only will the how not come, but you'll continue to spin in your head with all of the insecurities, the self-doubts, the worries, trying to figure this out logically, looking for new diet plans, food diet plans. There's never going to be enough food diet plans to fix these issues because the food diet plans can't fix these issues. The food diet plan is a good thing if you really don't know how to eat in a healthy way, and if you have an eating plan to follow that is healthy and it's sane and it works as a lifestyle, that's a good thing to have that. If you have the right mindset for it, because the mindset is 92.8% of getting to your goal weight and staying there for the rest of your life. 7.2% of it is the healthy eating plan and the lifestyle, working out, all of that. The food and the exercise, it's all in that 7.2%. This is why 95% or more of dieters fail, because all they have is that 7.2%. They're missing the foundational inner self core, which is the mindset. Does that make sense? And then how do you get that mindset when you haven't first made the decision that you're going for it, that you are achieving this lifelong goal that you've held for yourself of looking your best, getting to a healthy weight, maintaining that, doing it with ease, feeling really, really, really good about yourself, actually liking yourself, which I believe is more important than loving yourself. Because when you think about it, I bet you have people in your life that you can say honestly that you love, but you don't hang out with them because you really don't like them. And maybe you only see them once a year during the holiday season. And it's true, you love them, but you don't like them. This is an example of why I say that it's more important to like yourself, learn how to like yourself, than it is even to love yourself. Loving yourself is extremely important also. But if you actually like yourself, that's awesome. That's really, really awesome. Then you're your own best friend. And you would never suggest to your best friend that they do anything that would cause them pain, right? And so you'd never suggest to your best friend to eat a bunch of unhealthy food that blows up their body and makes them feel bad about themselves, right? You'd never wish that on your best friend. So just imagine if you could become your own best friend and treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend. How easy would weight loss become then? But first, you have to make the decision. You got to make the level of Scarlett O'Hara decision. I will never be hungry again. That was her decision. That was her decision. Watch the movie if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When exactly will you make this decision for yourself that, gosh darn it, I deserve to stop struggling with this food and weight issue that I've been struggling with since childhood, and I'm going for it. This is it. You got to make that decision even before you have the how. Otherwise, the how won't be able to come through. You won't be able to see it. It could be right in front of you, and you're not able to see it when you haven't made the decision. When you haven't made the decision to win fully with your weight. Remember, you can go over to www.easyfunweightloss.com. You can download my 3 simple steps to start making weight loss easier from the inside out. You can get that now at www.easyfunweightloss.com. I have 3 questions to help you gain more clarity on where you're at when it comes to making this very, very, very important decision for yourself. I highly suggest that you write each question pen on paper and then write your answer pen on paper so that you can gain from the connection that occurs between your head, hand, and heart when you write pen on paper, distraction-free, both feet flat on the floor. That will also force you to get present with yourself and to do something just for yourself without distraction, without social media, without eating, without outside input. It will help you also to stop the spinning in your head and be present now with yourself. Just pause the podcast as you need time to do that. First question: what are all of my doubts, fears, and negative thoughts that come up when I imagine making this decision for myself? Right now, even though I don't know how I would get to where I want to go, what are all of the negative thoughts, the fears, the doubts that are stopping me from making the decision? Write them all down. Write all of them down. Don't hold anything back. Number 2 question. What do I need to do to move beyond what I just wrote down, that whole list, so that I can make this decision for myself now? What exactly do I need to do to clear all that stuff I just wrote down so that I can make this decision for myself now? By the way, an answer of I don't know, that's not acceptable. Ask yourself, well, if I did know, then what would I do? And see what comes up for you. All right? Number 3 question. What is my biggest fear about making this decision for myself now, even though I don't know how I would do it? I don't know how I would get this ultimate result of getting to my goal weight, staying there, doing it with ease. So what is my biggest fear that is stopping me from making this decision, even though I don't know how I would get to my ultimate goal of this freedom from my food and weight struggles? See what you come up with. All right? If you don't ask yourself these questions, if you don't ask yourself any questions, if you don't ask yourself productive questions, you probably do ask yourself questions a lot. But if you're asking yourself questions like, why do I always fail when it comes to losing weight? Why can't I stop eating? Those kinds of questions are going to give you answers that will match the question. And how will those answers help you get to where you want to go? Instead, if you ask yourself, what is my biggest fear stopping me from making this decision? And then, what do I need to do to let this fear go so that I can make this decision? These are much better questions because at least they are taking you into a direction of self-awareness and more clarity than just asking yourself things like, why do I always fail? Well, your brain will give you an answer to that question, but it's just going to be more problems. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, if you have any questions about anything I said here on today's podcast, just go over to my Facebook page, facebook.com/JoLynn Braley. Like the page, sign up for notifications. Just click that little drop down and then write a comment on my page and tell me that you were listening to podcast episode number 356. Tell me what it is that I said that didn't make sense to you, and I could do a follow-up podcast to clarify. That would be a great opportunity. Really, that would be really, really cool. Maybe if you have that question, there are other people that have the same question. So that would be awesome. Bottom line, you've got to make the decision to succeed in order to succeed, and you need to make that decision before you even know how you're going to succeed. Otherwise, the how cannot get through to you. One last reminder, a mindset that is set on successful weight loss that is struggle-free is a mindset that will give you the behaviors of struggle-free weight loss. If you want help to get that awesome kind of mindset, that's what I do with my awesome coaching clients in the Inner Self Diet. If you want my help to get this done and you are serious about ending the struggle with food and your weight, take your first step over at www.discovery-session.com. I'm JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet. I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body, feeling fantastic about yourself, experiencing a healthy relationship with food, loving how you look when you see yourself in the mirror, when you step out of the shower, feeling good in your own skin. Yay!